Okay, good afternoon and welcome, Mrs. Laurie Spiegler, a founder of a wonderful organization known as Welcome Home. As a matter of full disclosure, Laurie is my baby sister, who I have known for years, uh,
Thank you for
many
that.
decades. In any event, Laurie, tell us what is Welcome Home all about?
Well, we are an all volunteer organization, no paid staff. We are committed to raising funds and awareness for new Americans in the San Diego community. And we really are two pronged. We give micro grants to people who are having difficulties paying for tuition. They're being held back by economic constraints. And so we're able to give micro grants to people for them to continue their training or education and enter the workforce and attain a self-sufficiency. And the other thing, the other prong is we do donation drives. So everything that people cannot buy with their food stamps, like diapers, any kind of personal toiletries or cleaning supplies. They're not allowed to buy that with food stamps. So we try to have an ongoing supply of that funneling into various refugee communities in San Diego, as well as dishes and rugs and blankets during this time of year and coats and anything that we find that there's a need for, we try to fill that gap. And we do that with several, with IRC, with Jewish Family Service, with License to Freedom and Refugee Net. To many agencies here in San Diego working with refugees, we supply that type of assistance.
That's great. IRC is the International Rescue Committee.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're a great organization. I've had the pleasure of working with them as well.
And actually with them, we have had great success with a pharmacy tech program. We've sent 10 to 12 people through their pharmacy tech program, and they are now working and gainfully employed, and a welding program. And so we have enjoyed working with them.
Great. When did you found this organization?
Well, actually, we used to say 9 angry women, but we say 9 determined women. Started it in actually my living room because we were really disgusted by the changes in the immigration laws and with people being turned away from our country and shut out in airports. And we decided, rather than just sitting and complaining, we wanted to do something. So we started in August, I think it was August of 2017. We did our first major drive. We had 5 homes that you could drop off, all the different, infant seats and all the items that people would need. I couldn't even walk in my house, nor could the 5 other drop-off points. They had to come with trucks. We had such a great response. So we decided to not stop there and to keep going. And it was in response to that, actually.
Well, I recall not being able to walk around my garage for a while there too.
Yeah, there you go. That's right too. We had to spill over. So our cup runneth over, and we were very grateful to the community for the way they responded.
Yeah, I recall at one point that a bunch of folks were buying Target gift cards and
yes, in fact, Linda, my sister-in-law, your wife, was really instrumental. And we actually had she helped with a drive when they started the shelter for asylum seekers in downtown San Diego. Well, they actually had various locations. She helped to raise, she helped to get gift cards for people to utilize and, buy the things that they needed because they came with nothing. They fled and had nothing. So those cards helped to, and it also, the gift cards, people have dignity of choosing their own things, what they want, the color, the whatever it is they need. It was a really great drive.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful concept, and I've had the pleasure of working with the kids of refugees as a teacher at Crawford, where 42% of the student population are refugees, and gosh, what a great group! They are so motivated and so thankful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful to see. They'll be good neighbors to all of us.
For sure. And actually, the Crawford Community Foundation, we have awarded a grant 2 years running to them for kids who are graduating and first generation college bound kids, to help with, it could be residence living fees, or bus cards, or computers, or books, and, allowances for different things that, it's not just you get a scholarship, but it does not pay, as most people know who kids have gone to college. It just doesn't pay for everything. So our group has been able to sometimes fill that void, and we've been able to work closely with Crawford Connection, and have been very, very, very happy to do so. They're wonderful. It's a wonderful organization.
Yeah, that's actually part of Say San Diego, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and that's a great organization as well.
Yeah.
We're blessed in San Diego with a lot of terrific community service organizations, including Welcome Home.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have some stories about individuals who have actually gone on to employment and self-sufficiency?
We have a gentleman who was from Iraq, and he was targeted and actually on the run for 7 years before our government brought him over, though he had helped our government by being an interpreter, standing toe to toe with our forces during combat. So he and his family were on the run for a long time, and his parents were really targeted also. So it impacted his whole family. When he got here, he was an accountant prior to helping, prior to entering in, because he wanted his country to be free. He wanted his country to be democratic. He needed fees for the different courses, and for the exams that you have to take, the fees for the exam. So we funded him, and he has a wonderful job. And actually his wife followed suit. They're very self-sufficient, and he is going to go, he's studying to go for his CPA exam, and we will fund that when he's ready for that. So that's something that was just wonderful. Another gentleman was a doctor in his home country, and he was studying for the exam. And this is one thing to become a doctor here. Now, his training wasn't totally equivalent, but he was able to be more of a general practitioner here. And we had a man on our committee who used to be the chief of staff at Sharp Hospital. And he came with me, and we sat down and we met with him at Alibaba's restaurant. We had lunch together, and we were talking to him about his life, and what he wanted to do, what he hoped for his family, what he had left behind, all he had gone through to get here. And at the end of our conversation, I said, I'm very hopeful that this grant we'll be able to grant it, but we have a committee process. He looked at us and he said, no matter what happens, and he had tears in his eyes. He said, no matter what happens, I will always remember you for thinking of me and for giving me your time and your support. And we both walked out. The gentleman who wasn't even that into the cause said, I'm going to fund him. We both walked out crying. We were so touched by this young man and all that he had accomplished. It's been such an enriching experience. It's just a wonderful, wonderful group of people. and it's enriched my life knowing I'm honored to know everybody that I've met.
Yeah, you know, I feel the same. I feel the same with working with the kids. Uh, they are. I mean, a lot of people don't have an understanding of what these folks go through to
Yeah,
get here.
right.
I mean, most of the kids that I taught spent years in a refugee camp being vetted. 3 years, 4 years, 6 years. I mean, we really, I mean, they really have to prove that they're not, you know, a jihadist or, you know, anti-American. And we get the best of the best. I mean, these folks,
Right.
the fortitude, the determination, just the yearning for freedom is palpable. And there's such great additions to, you know, to our community. I mean, it is wonderful. Uh, I heard a young man who really didn't have a lot of training um, got a job at a substation, a sub sandwich place,
Mhm.
and worked himself up to the manager. And, you know, he was the happiest guy on earth. You know, he could support his family. He's totally independent, was looking forward to future growth in his company. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just, you know, and what would they have done without just a little helping hand? Uh,
And that's what's so funny, because even with us, it can be as simple as providing training for a driver's license. So that, you know, a couple $100 even can provide the freedom, so they have transportation to take the job that they're offered. So it isn't even a huge financial investment to change someone's life. You know, so literally, you know, we are able to, you know, from people's generous donations, we're able to change a life. Um, and and it's a generational change. It's not just for that person, but it reaches broad. You know, the reach is very broad.
and of course, just the feeling of being welcome is,
Yeah, it's so important. And that's actually the motivating factor for our group forming, is we did not want to be a part of the culture that was saying you're not welcome. We wanted to be a part of a culture that was saying, hey, we're glad you're here. We come from the same history. Many of us on the committee have a family journey that we can share, that we're standing on the shoulders of people who risked their life to get here so that we could have that life. So now it's really sort of our turn. And it's sort of with pleasure that we do the work that we do.
I also was talking to somebody about uh, several, I think, people who were interested in pharmacy. And
Mhm.
through the help of your organization, we're able to get the training and are working again,
Yeah,
self-sufficient. And in such a short period of time, I mean, many of the kids I work with and had the pleasure of getting to know their parents just struggled for years trying to find a way. With
yeah.
just a tiny bit of help and direction, uh, you know, it does so much good on so many levels.
Mhm.
It's really uh, it's really amazing. So, what if somebody out there listening would like to help your organization? How might they lend a hand?
Well, one thing that we really love is when people will do a donation drive in their neighborhood with their church or any religious organization, their book club, their, you know, any kind of an organization that they're in. We've had Rotary clubs do them. And where we actually supply you with a flyer that you would pass out, and you can have a drop-off point at several homes or your own home. We have people who just have goods left on their porch and accumulated, and then we come and pick it up. Or if people would like to go into the community, of course, right now with COVID, we have other, we have certain limitations. But if you want to take it yourself and meet some people, we have marketplaces sometimes where we display the good, we have everything there, and people are invited to come and shop, of course, for free, but to come and shop. To help with those marketplaces when we're able to have those again. Right now, we just do drop-offs to one central place, but it's really cleaning supply. All those things are so needed. Or when people are cleaning out their house, clothing is wonderful. Dishes, any kind of household item. If people are rearranging things, those kinds of items, household things are needed all the time on a continuous basis. Just if you're going through your house or your closet, you can reach out to us and we'll make sure that we put your things to good use. There are donations for the micro grants. There's a committee that we have that if people are interested in joining, we certainly welcome everyone's energy and support. So those are a few of the ways that people can help.
And lest I forget, on the resource page, there is something like in the nature of a public service announcement, or
it's actually a video that you'll see some of the people who have been assisted through Welcome Home and hear their stories. They're very compelling, and there's also a way to reach us. It's a long it's a long email, but it's Welcome Home New Americans. That's plural. It's plural, New Americans. So it's Welcome Home New Americans @gmail.com. With any kind of question or concern, that's the best place to just start if you're interested in getting involved or doing a drive.
Well, if you press on the public service, it's your logo with a little sign. There's very easy instructions on how to donate and how to contact the organization. So nobody need be writing down the Gmail address, which I don't think anybody could.
Probably, it's very long.
Anybody of our vintage could not, from memory. Get it right.
For sure.
But go ahead.
It has been really one of the highlights of my volunteer work anywhere. I have I can honestly say that everything goes directly to the clients. There's no overhead, no staff, and that anything that happens does help to either enhance or literally change a life. And it's wonderful to be a part of that.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, I'm very proud of my little sister. It is a great idea, and I see that it's practical, and it's just it's just pragmatic. And the government, even if it's well-intentioned, it's such a nightmare to get anything done. And if you're not going to work because you don't have $150 to get a course in driving, or you don't have the money for a bus pass, the government's not set up to do that. This is it. It's how long do you turn around if somebody makes a request of Welcome Home for one of your micro grants? How long does it take?
Well, we actually now, for individuals versus an agency that we may fund a cohort of people to go through a larger program, but for an individual, we can usually review within 2 weeks because people need it that fast. Usually the tuition is due, the deadlines exist, and we try to allow for people to be able to meet the deadlines and the urgency completing a course, not having to wait for another semester or something like that. So if we get a grant for just an individual person, that's about it. For an agency, the process is longer.
Yeah, I guess that's the way of the world. But I don't know anywhere where you can rely on an answer and maybe a check in hand in 2 weeks. I mean, that's really phenomenal. So people can help by money. People can help by volunteering to lend their creativity and intellect to the group, and or getting their church group, or as you say, a book club or social organization of any type involved. Again, as I say, having worked with these kids, it's a very, very worthwhile endeavor. And I think, is there anything else you'd like to say? I think you've covered it great.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I too am proud of your work with the refugee community too. I think it's something that from our own family history is something near and dear to both of us. So good for you too. And thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely a pleasure. And I know our family has a lot to look forward here. Your number one son is getting married here shortly to a wonderful, beautiful young lady, and who's a teacher herself in New York. And that's coming up, just a couple of weeks from now, 3 weeks.
Couple weeks actually now.
Yeah. Wow.
Wonderful.
That's very exciting. So again, thank you. And for the folks who are listening, the Welcome Home sign, you can't miss it on the resource page. And just click on it and you'll see some wonderful people with marvelous stories. And if you're so moved, multiple ways to lend a hand, which, one of our goals here is to promote community building. And if there's ever been a way to help build a community, this is it. So click your clicker on the right spot, hear the story, and lend a hand. Okay? Great. Thank you very much, Mrs. Laurie Spiegler. Oh,
that's great.
Okay.
That's great. So are we still recording?
We're still recording. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Sounds great. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. That was fun.
Truly a pleasure. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.